Howdy, kittens. Oh my gosh, RangoDango Reads, episode 8. Here we got it. Whoa, let's get it in front. Yeah, there we go. Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. We are finally finished with this book. It is an absolute grind. Loved it, but it is, over 1,000 pages, almost 1,100 pages. It is a tough read. All right, but we're gonna get into it. It's gonna be honest, it's gonna be positive, no negativity. We don't do that on Rango Dango Reads. We just have a good time and enjoy books and talk everything positive, and we're honest though. We're honest about it, right? And we speak whatever we think. We don't I don't care what other people say about books. I don't care what other people say about blah blah blah, whatever, fill in the blank. We're just here because we love books and we want to talk about them. So that's what we're doing. Um, all right, elephant in the room. Obviously, my background's different. Just wanted to change it up a bit. Why not? As you can tell, my face is super red. I'm shirtless and sweating like crazy. It is hot as the dickens outside. It is blazing hot. I just got finished picking up dookie and mowing the backyard. So, there's that. I had to get this bad boy out there. I feel like it's been an eternity since I finished a book. So it's nice, it's super nice to finally be there, to finally be able to talk about it properly. Here we are. Let's not delay anymore. Let's get into it. So Words of Radiance, if you've seen my shorts, my progressionals, I've talked about how, I connected the Knights Radiant, the Radiant Knights, I guess, however you want to say it. I connected them to like Christ consciousness. They're the ones that are, how do you say it? Ascended masters. They're the ascended masters essentially sent down to assist humanity, right? And just like past lives in the real world, and I got this connection from it, right? Just like past lives in the real world, we have these things we can do, but we need to remember them. We've learned things in many lives before, right? And we've gotten a certain skill, and now we're able to pick it up fairly easily, right? If we've learned it before, we just pick it up. It's like we remember it, right? All of a sudden, we're super good at something we've never done before in this lifetime, right? But we've never done it before to our knowledge, and then we're just really good at it. But we know these things, we just have to remember them. And so that's kind of how I perceive the Knights Radiant. I'm not gonna. I really don't want to do any spoilers. I hate spoilers. I don't really hate them. That's not very true. I don't mind spoilers to an extent. Um, but we're trying not to spoil anything as well as discuss it. Uh, but but so that's a big connection. Knights Radiant, and that's going to be a theme throughout the entire series. I can see. Um, right. And so there's visions which are very true. This book very much connects one consciousness, right? And so they're able to speak to one another without realizing it. They're speaking to themselves in future. They're on different planes. Um, mm, it briefly touches on the one consciousness. In one of the sections, it very much touches on it, and it's like a cobbler or a leather worker, and he mentions it. It's well worth the read. I don't remember the guy's name because it was one small chapter. I'm sure it'll come back to play later on in the series. Sanderson is fabulous at doing that, by the way. He's great at sprinkling in a little dash here, a little oosh there. He does bits by bits and then connects them later on, and you're like, what the heck is this? What's the point of this right here? And then I don't know, maybe the next book, maybe chapters later, maybe 2 books later, he whips that bad boy out and is like, oh yeah, here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Remember when I did this? Well, here it is again. So he does that a lot, but it can kind of seem like a drag sometimes, right? Very, very well written, But sometimes it just feels like where is this going? Of course, there's always a point. There's always a point to it, right? But some of the instances, there's moments like that where yes, it does get brought up later, but even those chapters, if you like, I'm not gonna lie, I skipped some flashback chapters of Shalon, mainly because I knew what was coming, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just knew what was coming. I could sense it because he hints at it so well and builds it up so well that when it finally reveals itself, you're like, okay, I knew that was going to happen. This happened multiple times. And it's not a knock on him, it's not a knock on the book. It's very well written, very entertaining, absolutely. But, there are pieces that you don't have to read, which is fine, honestly. I mean, for a 1,000-page book, if you can skip a couple parts here and there, by all means, go for it. But it's a really good book. And of course, like obviously, it sets up, um, for the next 8 books in the series, right? I believe I'm knowing this correctly, that it's going to be a 10-book series. That's crazy. Not in a like, oh my God, I'm insane type of way, but like a whoa, mind blown crazy type of way, right? I'm speaking so fast. I love talking about it. I've been holding it in because I haven't been able to really talk about it with anybody. So I'm talking to y'all about it. Okay. Um, but it's like, okay, we knew this was going to happen. There's certain points like, God, I can't say it, but hell yes, so happy that it happened. Right. So there are payoffs that you're like, yes, all right, good to go. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Um, and there's others that are just like, all right, that happened, cool. Okay. What really gets me about his writing, and maybe y'all understand this too, maybe you see this too, is that I'm I don't get overly sucked into parts other than the battle scenes. And maybe this is just me. The battle scenes seem to be written with the most pizzazz, right? The most flair, the most in your face. Gah! Okay? Which makes sense. I mean, it's essentially it's a war book, it's a political book, it's a government book. Um, ooh, yes, and that's the connection I wanted to make. I remember it's a spiritual book, okay? Um, sorry to get zoozed off on my other point, but this made me think of something I wanted to say. Um, we won't get much into, but the way Urithiru is explained in this book is very similar to Atlantis and very similar to the Garden of Eden. Okay, there are definite connections. I'm not saying that they are exact, but there are connections. Okay, there's a lot of biblical connections in this book, whether like surface level or even a little bit deeper. Uh, but spiritual, not like saying that this is a religious book, but there are sacred texts. I would say that sacred texts help play a big role in this. Um, the modern day power struggle, where power is accepted over truth for the longest, right? That's a big theme. In the end, Tawo, baby, things always work out. So, and that's all we'll say there. But yeah, I don't want to hold y'all too long, too much longer than I already have. Fabulous book. I felt a lot of things, a lot of spiritual things, because that's how I look at things. That's how I perceive things. Perception is reality. That's my perception. Therefore, that is my reality. I can find a spiritual connection, or at least I try to find, whether I'm doing it consciously or subconsciously, I try to find a spiritual connection in every book that I read. And I usually end up doing that. And I think that's the universe's way of talking to me, saying, you know what, you should have read this book at this moment. And every time I read Words of Radiance, or rather the Stormlight Archive, gosh, I always want to say Silverlight. I don't know why. I constantly find myself saying Silverlight Archive. But no, it's the Stormlight Archive, right? So when I read the Stormlight Archive, all it makes me want to do is, yes, I want to finish this book, but it really makes me want to study up on different subjects, right? It talks a lot about scholarships and being a scholar, and yes, it talks about that as being a feminine trait, but I mean, obviously that's in the realm of the book, and in the real world, it's a feminine and a masculine trait. Being smart is freaking cool. Knowing things is hardcore, right? If you know things, man, you're just like you're that dude, dudette, whatever you want to, right? So being scholarly, and so this right here, Urithiru, made me want to dive into Atlantis next. And obviously, if you've been following me, which I'm sure you have, because why not? I'm reading the Urantia book, which is basically parallel book to the Bible in a sense, a creation story. I'm reading The Republic by Plato. Yes, yes. I'm reading a Rosicrucian guide on law of attraction and things of that nature. Absolutely. And I'm about to read The Witch Doctor by Carl Jennings. Sweet. Can't wait. It's a novella. Looks cool, looks fun. Um, but I am going to take a little time off. Oh yeah, snap back. Um, Shout out to my boys at Classical Stuff You Should Know. They're the reason that I am reading The Republic. I listen to their podcast a lot. Fabulous stuff. Classical Stuff You Should Know, right? Shout out to those boys. It's the only podcast that I listen to other than myself, but I don't even listen to myself. So, they're the only ones I listen to. And, check them out. They're pretty hardcore. They're hardcore dudes, just a trio of hardcore dudes. All right, moving on. I'm going to take a short break from reading, which shouldn't be. Once pick it back up, the other book that I'm reading, The Witch Doctor, the newest one, the next review I'll do is a 100-page novella, so it shouldn't take me too long to read it, maybe a day or two. Once I start ripping it, rip, tide. Once I start ripping it. So, and yeah, but that I'll probably finish that sometime next week. But I'm gonna take a little time off of my review duties to finish my second book that I've been working on. My first book, I'll drop the link in the description to buy it. It is Winston Feathersby. I'll let you know how it goes. I will also drop the links to Words of Radiance. All of those links will be affiliate links. Yes, I will get some coin. I'll get some kickback for dropping those fatties in the bio. Don't mind if you want to buy it and don't mind buying it through there, throw me a couple pennies by all means. If not, that's up to you too. But yeah, we're just here having fun, talking about books and what we think of them. But yeah, that's been episode 8, Words of Radiance. I'm RangoDango Reads. Um, I got this is on YouTube and Spotify. I got a TikTok and Instagram of the same name, RangoDango Reads at gmail.com. If you want to reach me directly, I don't really get any emails there, so it'll very easily be seen. Um, but yeah, that's that. So till next time, ta-ta, kittens.